13 colonies rose against overwhelming
If we don't
rule.
stand now, we'll never be free.
Voices of resistance echoed through every town. Revolution ignited hope in restless hearts. A new destiny formed through unwavering courage. A republic emerged from battle-scarred ground. Ideals guided citizens toward uncertain futures. Ambition challenged limits placed by old empires. Contradictions shaped a nation, still discovering itself. Industry transformed landscapes across vast frontiers. Innovators reshaped tools, dreams, and possibilities. Expansion pushed borders beyond distant horizons. A new world formed through relentless creation. Wars redrew maps with strategic American influence. Diplomacy extended power across connected continents. Alliances shifted balance in uncertain eras. The nation's voice grew stronger every decade. A modern superpower rose from determination. Its reach expanded across oceans and mines. No empire resembled this bold experiment. America ascended as history's unprecedented force. Rebellion rose from fields and crowded streets. Voices demanded freedom from distant power. Colonists united under one bold vision. Revolution ignited across a determined land. Battles raged from valleys to rugged hillsides. Ordinary people fought extraordinary imperial might. Sacrifice strengthened hopes for lasting liberty. The dream of nationhood burned fiercely. Militia lines held against seasoned armies. Winter hardships could not break resolve. Patriots believed destiny favored their courage. Freedom became worth every painful struggle. Foreign alliances shifted momentum toward victory. New confidence spread through American ranks. Unity deepened across diverse colonial communities. The impossible began appearing within reach. 13 colonies transformed into rising states. Their shared cause demanded unified representation. Debates shaped the meaning of independence. A new political identity slowly emerged. War ended, but questions still remained. What governments could protect fragile freedom? What structure could hold states together? Uncertainty surrounded the future republic. Delegates gathered in Philadelphia's summer heat. Voices clashed over power and governance. Compromise forged pathways through heated disagreements. A national blueprint slowly took form. Ideas flowed from passionate revolutionary minds. Liberty demanded thoughtful systems and safeguards. Authority required boundaries to prevent tyranny. Balance became the Constitution's guiding principle. The Constitution framed a stronger union. States accepted shared responsibility for stability. Government gained power through the people. Representation anchored every national decision. A republic rose from careful deliberation. Laws began shaping order and accountability. Leadership required wisdom, restraint, and vision. The nation prepared for its new chapter. Signatures sealed a promise of unity. The document embodied hope and resilience. A framework designed for generations ahead. A covenant binding states into one. Ratification sparked celebrations across communities. Skeptics questioned federal authority and reach. Supporters defended union over fragmentation. Debate strengthened the republic's democratic roots. Power transferred from revolution to structure. Freedom gained protection under written law. Institutions carried ideals into daily life. America stepped confidently toward its destiny. The Constitution reshaped the meaning of liberty. It transformed rebellion into organized governance. Principles became foundations for national growth. A new republic stood ready to rise. Revolution ended, but purpose endured strongly. The nation embraced responsibility and possibility. Destiny awaited beyond familiar colonial borders. America moved forward as one people. Leadership emerged from revolution's lingering shadows. New presidents carried hopes of unity. Their choices shaped a fragile republic. Every decision echoed across young America. George Washington defined dignity and restraint. He set standards for peaceful governance. Power became service, not personal ambition. A precedent shaping centuries of leadership, his farewell warned against dangerous divisions. Unity mattered more than temporary disagreements. Foreign entanglements threatened national independence. Wisdom guided America's earliest cautious steps. John Adams strengthened law and national stability. Debates tested boundaries of federal authority. Diplomacy demanded patience over reckless conflict. American identity matured under careful pressure. Thomas Jefferson expanded ideals of liberty. Agrarian vision shaped democratic independence. Knowledge became essential for responsible citizenship. Hope flourished in expanding rural horizons. Jefferson championed limited centralized power. State rights balanced emerging federal influence. Democracy gained deeper roots among citizens. Participation became cornerstone of national character. James Madison refined constitutional interpretation. War challenged American strength and resolve. Leadership endured through conflict and uncertainty. The nation survived trials with renewed confidence. Early presidents shaped moral responsibility. They built frameworks for future governance. Principles mattered more than political gain. Integrity guided America's guiding vision. Their disagreements strengthened democratic debate. Ideas collided without destroying foundational unity. Diverse voices shaped the national spirit. Conflict refined the path toward progress. Citizens' learned power required accountability. Leaders served through humility and duty. National identity grew from shared commitment. America matured through disciplined governance. Foreign powers tested early American resolve. Presidents defended sovereignty with caution. Diplomacy balanced ambition and survival. Respect slowly formed across global stages. Domestic policies shaped everyday American life. Economies shifted under skilled leadership. Institutions grew stronger with steady direction. Confidence spread through thriving communities. These first leaders shaped national DNA. Their values influenced every future presidency. Their choices built America's moral backbone. Their legacy shaped centuries of progress. Early presidencies guided America's direction. They crafted identity through action and restraint. They upheld ideals born from sacrifice. They carved foundations for global ascendancy. A nation still learning found its voice. Leadership defined culture, courage, and unity. These presidents forged the American character. Their impact endures across every generation. Freedom demanded protection from growing government power. Citizens sought guarantees for personal liberties. Voices called for clear legal safeguards. Rights became the foundation of democracy. The First Amendment ensured speech and belief. Faith and expression flourished without fear. Ideas spread freely across every community. Debate strengthened the nation's intellectual vitality. The Second Amendment allowed citizen self-defense. Arms provided security against potential tyranny. Protection balanced responsibility with individual freedom. Safety intertwined with personal liberty principles. Searches and seizures required fair justification. Fourth Amendment limited government intrusion. Privacy became a protected democratic right. Citizens could trust the legal system. Due process shaped fair judicial procedures. Rights of accused received strong protection. Justice required impartiality and proper evidence. Law became a guardian of freedom. Freedom of press exposed corruption and truth. Public opinion gained power through informed discourse. Democracy thrived as citizens stayed vigilant. Accountability anchored government to its people. Assembly and petition enabled collective voices. Citizens could challenge laws without fear. Participation became essential for governance. Action ensured leaders remained accountable and honest. Limits on cruel punishments preserved humanity. Justice emphasized fairness over unchecked authority. Rights protected both body and dignity. Society grew stronger under humane law. Provisions balanced liberty with necessary governance. Rights ensured power could not dominate freely. Democracy thrived when citizens understood protections. Freedom became the nation's enduring backbone. Ratification sparked public debates across states. Supporters celebrated safeguards for all people. Skeptics feared government might still overreach. Discussion strengthened national understanding and engagement. Bill of Rights became living American promise. It grounded ideals in practical protection. Every generation drew strength from these guarantees. Liberty remained a tangible national commitment. Principles inspired future democratic nations worldwide. Freedom, justice, and equality transcended borders. America's framework influenced global democratic thought. Democracy's reach extended far beyond its shores. These amendments defined America's moral character. Rights and protections shaped citizens' daily lives. Democratic principles became core national identity. Freedom's flame endured through time and trial. Civic responsibility grew, alongside guaranteed rights. Education emphasized understanding laws and liberties. Active citizens protected democracy's delicate balance. Every voice mattered in national governance. The Bill of Rights solidified government limits. Liberty and law intertwined for all citizens. Principles guided justice, fairness, and equality. Democracy's heart beat stronger through these guarantees. A fragile union struggled to hold together. Diverse states held competing interests tightly. Regional differences tested national cohesion constantly. Unity demanded compromise across all borders. Economic instability threatened the fledgling nation's growth. Debt burdened citizens and the new government. Trade disputes strained both local and foreign relations. Innovation became essential to stabilize national wealth. Agriculture remained backbone of early economy. Farmers faced unpredictable markets and climate. Urban centers began slowly shaping commerce. Entrepreneurs tried new strategies against hardships. Diplomatic relations demanded careful negotiation abroad. Foreign powers tested America's fragile credibility. Treaties required cautious balance and strategy. National survival relied on prudent engagement. The Whiskey Rebellion challenged federal authority openly. Citizens protested taxes on essential commodities. Government enforced laws without destroying legitimacy. Authority required measured force and negotiation. Regional loyalties competed with emerging national identity. North and South often disagreed bitterly. Westward expansion added pressure on political unity. States balanced local interests against national goals. Trade conflicts threatened growth and stability constantly. Imports and exports affected economic survival directly. Tariffs and regulations sparked heated debates. Commerce became battleground for emerging policies. Native relations added complexity to governance. Diplomacy required delicate negotiation and tact. Conflicts erupted over land and treaties. Peace demanded patience and mutual understanding. Foreign wars loomed over American neutrality. European powers sought influence and advantage. Maintaining independence required careful international strategy. Diplomacy was essential to avoid full conflict. Financial systems developed slowly under scrutiny. Banks, taxation, and debt required attention. Leaders balanced growth with fiscal responsibility. Economic strength became national security foundation. National unity required strong civic engagement. Citizens' learned compromise was necessary survival tool. Shared values strengthened the republic's backbone. Cultural identity emerged amidst persistent divisions. Transportation challenges hindered communication and cohesion. Roads, rivers, and ports connected communities slowly. Infrastructure growth supported trade and national unity. Progress demanded patience and innovative planning. Political factions emerged despite common goals. Debates shaped democracy's evolving structure. Parties tested the nation's flexibility constantly. Opposition helped refine policies over time. Military readiness remained a national priority. Defending sovereignty required careful planning always. Small standing army protected fragile borders. Cities and militias supplemented federal strategic capacity. Through trials, America learned resilience and balance. Challenges tested ideals and national determination. Diplomacy, economy, and unity required constant care. A young nation matured under persistent pressure. A vast territory lay beyond Mississippi River. Americans dreamed of fertile lands and opportunity. Expansion promised wealth, growth, and national influence. The nation faced a historic decision. Thomas Jefferson pursued bold diplomatic negotiations carefully. France held lands critical for Western development. Purchase required vision beyond immediate political pressures. Opportunity demanded courage and measured risk-taking. The Louisiana Territory doubled the nation's size. Millions of acres became American property. Farmers and settlers anticipated new horizons. Freedom and resources expanded across the frontier. Explorers mapped unknown rivers and landscapes extensively. Lewis and Clark led daring expeditions west. They documented nature, native cultures, and possibilities. Knowledge became essential for national planning. Relations with native tribes demanded delicate negotiation. Trade, treaties, and conflict intertwined constantly. Diplomacy shaped peaceful settlement and survival. Expansion required balance between growth and ethics. New lands offered economic and agricultural promise. Fertile soil attracted families seeking opportunity. Commerce expanded as transportation routes developed. Settlement became central to national prosperity. Western expansion fueled debates over slavery boundaries. Political tensions arose between North and South. Territorial growth challenged national unity constantly. Future conflicts loomed from early decisions. The Mississippi River became trade lifeline nationally. Ports and cities flourished along vital waterways. Commerce and communication accelerated national integration. Infrastructure expanded to connect distant settlements. Explorers faced harsh conditions and unknown dangers. Mountains, rivers, and deserts tested every expedition. Courage and determination guided each step westward. Adventure became part of the nation's identity. Expansion strengthened America's global influence quietly. Borders defined new power and opportunity. Territory became leverage in foreign diplomacy. Presence signaled growing ambition on the world stage. Native populations adapted, resisted, and sometimes relocated. Culture and land became intertwined with change. Treaties often favored national expansion strategies. The frontier shaped both settlers and indigenous people. Settlers built communities in wilderness areas. Trading posts evolved into towns and cities. Agriculture supported growing populations steadily. Society adapted to new environments constantly. The Louisiana Purchase reflected visionary leadership boldly. Opportunity and risk defined national decision-making. America's potential expanded beyond previous imagination. Future generations inherited unprecedented geographic advantage. Expansion inspired a sense of manifest destiny. The nation envisioned influence across entire continent. Territorial growth became symbol of national ambition. Optimism and exploration drove every frontier step. Early expansion laid foundation for future prosperity. Boundaries shifted, but ideals remained steadfast. Land, resources, and people shaped American destiny. The young republic embraced its growing possibilities. Discover the story of America's rise. Witness power, innovation, and global influence unfold. Explore history, culture, and ideas shaping nations. Subscribe now to join this journey daily. Settlers moved beyond familiar eastern borders. Hope and hardship defined every daring journey. Wagons creaked across plains and rugged hills. Dreams of land drove countless families westward. Homesteads emerged on previously untamed land. Wooden cabins marked survival and determination. Farms sprouted amid forests and fertile soil. Daily life demanded skill, endurance, and courage. Rivers became lifelines for transport and trade. Ferries and boats carried goods downstream carefully. Frontier towns grew along vital waterways. Commerce and survival intertwined across the frontier. Frontiersmen faced harsh winters and dry summers. Hunting and farming ensured community sustenance. Neighbors relied on trust and shared labor. Survival required both courage and ingenuity. Conflicts arose over land claims frequently. Settlers and locals disputed territory constantly. Justice was often local, swift, and rough. Law developed slowly in the western wilderness. Education and religion traveled with determined families. Schools and churches anchored fledgling communities steadily. Culture adapted to isolated, rugged conditions. Faith and knowledge provided strength and cohesion. Isolation forced self-reliance among frontier families. Every decision carried immediate life consequences. Innovation turned scarcity into survival opportunity. Frontier life demanded resilience beyond ordinary measure. Trade expanded to meet settlers' growing needs. Blacksmiths, merchants, and craftsmen prospered steadily. Goods traveled hundreds of miles for exchange. Economy grew alongside relentless migration westward. Native encounters shaped frontier experiences constantly. Cultural exchange, tension, and adaptation unfolded daily. Relationships influenced survival, trade, and movement. Understanding was vital in uncertain landscapes. Routes such as the Oregon Trail emerged, paths carved through mountains, forests, and rivers. Travelers endured disease, hunger, and exhaustion. Determination kept dreams alive across vast distances. Frontier communities fostered innovation and creativity. Tools, shelters, and farming methods improved continually. Practical knowledge became key to survival. Ingenuity defined the spirit of expansion. Stories of bravery and hardship inspired generations. Legends of the West shaped national imagination. Individual courage became emblematic of broader destiny. Heroism intertwined with the land itself. Families forged new traditions on the frontier. Celebrations and work blended into daily survival. Life remained uncertain, yet full of hope. Community ties grew stronger with every challenge. Migration accelerated population growth in Western territories. States emerged from once untamed wilderness. Borders shifted as settlers claimed land. Nation expanded physically and politically steadily. Frontier life tested physical and mental limits. Every sunrise brought opportunity and danger. Every sunset marked entrance and reflection. The West molded America's adventurous identity. Texas declared independence from Mexican rule boldly. Settlers and revolutionaries fought for autonomy. Battles raged across plains and rivers. Freedom demanded courage and relentless perseverance. Mexico resisted the breakaway territory fiercely. Diplomatic negotiations struggled under mounting tension. Borders remained contested and heavily guarded. Conflict loomed across the vast region. The United States debated annexation carefully. Political divisions split Congress and the public. Expansion threatened delicate balance between free and slave. Every vote carried immense national consequence. In 1845, Texas joined the Union. Celebrations mixed with fear of retaliation. Diplomatic relations grew tense immediately afterward. War became almost inevitable across borders. President Polk pursued aggressive territorial ambitions. Manifest Destiny fueled expansionist policies relentlessly. Military preparation increased along southern frontiers. Nations braced for confrontation over contested lands. The Mexican-American War erupted in 1846. Troops marched across deserts, rivers, and plains. Battles tested skill, endurance, and determination. Soldiers faced heat, disease, and relentless conflict. American forces advanced strategically into northern Mexico. Key victories opened doors for territorial acquisition. Tactics combined discipline, planning, and daring. Victory required both leadership and perseverance. Negotiations and treaties ended active fighting swiftly. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo defined borders. Mexico ceded vast lands to the United States. New territories expanded national reach dramatically. Public opinion remained divided over war's morality. Supporters celebrated territorial growth and opportunity. Opponents criticized aggression and human cost. Debates reflected the nation's democratic nature. Texas became symbol of expansionist vision. Settlers thrived under new American governance. Agriculture and commerce developed rapidly across land. Borders stabilized under national authority gradually. War experience strengthened the U.S. military. Officers gained skills in leadership and strategy. Lessons informed future national defense planning. Preparedness became central to American confidence. Native populations faced disruption and displacement harshly. Settlers claimed land once held by tribes. Conflict reshaped demographics and cultural landscapes. Expansion brought prosperity at significant cost. Economic opportunities increased across annexed territories quickly. Cotton, trade, and new settlements flourished steadily. Wealth attracted more migration westward eagerly. Infrastructure developed to support growing communities. The annexation and war defined national ambition. America's continental presence expanded with decisive impact. Political, social, and military landscapes transformed. The nation matured through conquest and negotiation. The nation looked westward with determined ambition. Boundaries stretched across mountains, deserts, and rivers. Opportunity beckoned settlers, traders, and adventurers. A new continent opened possibilities broadly. Diplomacy secured lands from foreign powers carefully. Treaties expanded the nation's continental reach. Negotiations required strategy, patience, and skill. Borders shifted through agreements and careful planning. The Oregon Territory became shared with Britain. Joint occupation prevented immediate conflict and tension. Settlers streamed along fertile valleys steadily. Trade and migration shaped growing settlements. The Gadsden Purchase refined southern borders precisely. Land acquisition enabled transportation and infrastructure growth. Railroad routes required strategic territorial planning. National unity depended on geographic coherence. California and the Southwest joined America's embrace. Gold and resources drew hopeful migrants quickly. Economic potential increased across new territories. Expansion fueled both wealth and ambition. Native nations faced displacement and cultural upheaval. Traditional lands were claimed or negotiated heavily. Population movements transformed long-established communities. Conflict and adaptation became constant realities. Explorers and cartographers mapped and charted wilderness. Knowledge guided settlement, trade, and defense. Rivers, mountains, and plains were charted. Science and discovery accompanied territorial expansion. Military presence secured newly acquired lands effectively. Garrisons ensured stability and safety for settlers. Conflicts were managed through force and diplomacy. Authority extended into once remote regions. Settlers adapted to varied climates and terrains. Farming, mining, and ranching shaped communities. Resources were harvested to fuel national growth. Daily life demanded resilience and ingenuity. Economic opportunities attracted diverse populations westward. Trade routes connected new towns and cities. Merchants, laborers, and pioneers contributed actively. Commerce became lifeline of territorial development. The transcontinental vision inspired national imagination vividly. Manifest destiny guided dreams across plains and mountains. Expansion reflected confidence and ambitious foresight. America envisioned influence across the continent fully. Political debates arose over slavery in territories. New lands challenged existing national compromises carefully. Sectional tensions foreshadowed coming internal conflicts. Legislation tried balancing freedom with expansionist goals. Acquisition strengthened America's global presence quietly. Territorial growth signaled strength and ambition. Borders defined political, economic, and strategic advantage. The nation projected influence across the world. Every new territory reshaped identity and opportunity. Communities formed with distinct local culture quickly. National cohesion grew amidst growing geographic diversity. Expansion defined early American character profoundly. Expansion pushed settlers into native homelands rapidly. Tribes faced displacement and mounting pressures daily. Traditional lands were claimed by newcomers. Culture and survival were deeply challenged. Forced treaties reshaped ancestral territories forcibly. Negotiations often favored American expansion aggressively. Native leaders struggled to protect communities. Promises were broken, trust eroded quickly. The Trail of Tears brought suffering relentlessly. Thousands walked hundreds of miles under duress. Families endured hunger, disease, and exhaustion. Loss became central to national expansion. Military campaigns enforced relocation harshly and decisively. Resistance met with armed conflict persistently. Communities faced destruction of homes and livelihoods. Survival demanded courage and difficult adaptation. Life on reservations offered limited sustenance consistently. Tribes struggled to maintain traditions and identity. Agriculture and governance were imposed externally. Freedom was constrained by unfamiliar authority. Cultural practices were suppressed or transformed forcibly. Language, ceremony, and heritage faced continuous threat. Native identity became increasingly at risk. Communities adapted creatively to survive adversity. Economic independence was stripped from indigenous populations. Hunting grounds and resources were often seized. Trade systems were disrupted severely and permanently. Self-sufficiency became an elusive goal constantly. Children were removed from families for schooling. Assimilation policies targeted language and customs. Generations were taught foreign ways forcibly. Loss of heritage impacted social structures deeply. Conflicts over land continued throughout expansion decades. Settlers encroached despite treaties and agreements. Violence escalated in contested regions frequently. Security became uncertain for native peoples. Diplomatic efforts rarely balanced power effectively. Native voices were often ignored completely. Negotiations served expansionist interests primarily. Justice was uneven across frontier territories. Relocation reshaped demographics and population centers dramatically. Tribes were concentrated in distant, unfamiliar areas. Survival required adaptation to harsher environments. Community cohesion was tested under pressure. Resistance movements arose despite overwhelming odds. Warriors defended homelands with determination. Stories of bravery endured through oral tradition. Legacy of resilience persisted despite hardships. Cultural survival depended on internal community strength. Language, song, and ceremony became acts of defiance. Traditions maintained identity across generations. Heritage endured through adaptation and courage. Impact of expansion left lasting scars deeply. Loss, displacement, and oppression marked history. Yet resilience of indigenous nations persisted. Legacy of entrants shaped their future profoundly. Manifest destiny inspired ambition across the nation. Americans believed growth was divinely ordained. Expansion was framed as moral obligation. Continental reach became national destiny. Leaders used vision to justify new lands. Political rhetoric emphasized national purpose clearly. Growth was tied to civic pride. Territorial gain became a patriotic ideal. Settlers felt entitled to Western lands. Adventure and opportunity drove migration fervently. Communities spread across plains and mountains. Hope fueled every frontier expedition. The concept influenced domestic policies profoundly. Legislation encouraged settlement and infrastructure development. Federal authority promoted Western growth actively. Economic opportunity supported national vision. Foreign policy aligned with continental ambitions strategically. Diplomacy reinforced claims over disputed regions. Treaties and agreements expanded influence peacefully. Power projection reflected expansionist mindset. Native displacement was rationalized by ideology forcefully. Indigenous populations were pushed aside constantly. Manifest destiny justified conquest and relocation. Belief in progress overshadowed human cost. Military action supported expansionist goals decisively. War with Mexico secured southwestern territories. Naval presence reinforced national authority globally. Force became tool of ideological purpose. Technology and infrastructure accelerated territorial integration. Railroads, roads, and canals connected distant settlements. Communication linked new communities effectively. Innovation enabled fulfillment of expansionist dreams. Public imagination celebrated the growing frontier eagerly. Literature and art glorified westward journeys. Legends reinforced belief in national destiny. Culture embraced ambition across landscapes. Economic motivations intertwined with ideological vision. Resources, trade, and land fueled expansion. Industry and agriculture grew alongside migration. Profit and purpose reinforced each other. Political debates framed destiny in moral terms. Compromise was required to maintain national unity. Sectional tensions tested belief in expansion. Ideology shaped every legislative decision. Manifest destiny guided settlement patterns decisively. Homesteads, towns, and cities rose quickly. Borders shifted as new lands joined. Nationhood expanded with every acquired territory. Belief in destiny strengthened national identity consistently. Citizens saw themselves as agents of progress. Purpose unified disparate regions under shared vision. Confidence grew with every frontier step. Expansion became central to American worldview permanently. Continental ambition defined policy and society. Manifest destiny shaped identity and foreign strategy. Dreams of growth guided national direction. The nation grew divided along sharp lines. Slavery remained central to Southern economy. Northern states opposed expansion of forced labor. Tensions simmered across political and social landscapes. States demanded rights to govern locally independently. Southern leaders defended autonomy vigorously and insistently. Northern politicians challenged federal authority continuously. Disagreements threatened national unity repeatedly. Agriculture dominated the Southern economy strongly. Cotton and cash crops relied on enslaved labor. Wealth and social structure depended on slavery. Economic interests reinforced stubborn ideological divisions. Industrialization shaped the Northern economic vision. Factories and trade emphasized wage labor nationally. Urban centers grew, influencing political power. Conflicting economies fueled growing regional resentment. Compromise measures delayed, but could not solve. Missouri, Kansas, and other territories debated fiercely. Legislation attempted to balance free and slave. Tension escalated with every political decision. Abolitionist movements gained momentum in the North. Writings, speeches, and activism challenged status quo. Moral arguments clashed with economic realities consistently. Humanity and profit conflicted throughout society. Southern leaders feared losing political influence permanently. Secessionist rhetoric grew louder each year. States questioned commitment to federal union. Loyalty divided along cultural and economic lines. Expansion into Western territories heightened sectional fears. New states threatened delicate balance in Congress. Debates became increasingly bitter and uncompromising. Compromise seemed impossible across growing divides. The Dred Scott decision inflamed national tensions. Supreme Court ruled against African American claims. Legal decisions deepened political polarization dramatically. Justice intertwined with ideological conflict sharply. The election of 1860 catalyzed Southern fears. Abraham Lincoln's victory signaled radical change. Secession movements gained legitimacy and momentum quickly. Civil war appeared inevitable across fractured states. Economic dependence and political ideology intertwined tightly. Labor systems, tariffs, and trade were contested. Sectionalism hardened as compromise weakened consistently. National identity was tested under mounting strain. The nation teetered on the edge dangerously. Debates over morality, power, and labor escalated. Every decision carried immense consequence deeply. Competing visions threatened permanent division. Southern culture and economy feared Northern dominance. Defending slavery became a matter of survival. State sovereignty justified resistance against federal authority. Tradition clashed violently with emerging national ideals. Northern industrial and moral power grew steadily. Economy, technology, and ideology strengthened opposition. Political compromises failed to bridge widening gaps. Pressure mounted toward inevitable confrontation. Sectionalism was reinforced through media and rhetoric. Newspapers and speeches inflamed passions further. Communication amplified ideological divisions dramatically. Public opinion hardened along geographic lines. Slavery, states' rights, and economy intertwined destructively. All forces combined to fracture Union permanently. Conflict loomed as compromise reached its limits. The nation approached war's dark horizon. War erupted across fields and river valleys. Brother fought against brother in brutal conflict. Cannons roared, muskets fired relentlessly daily. The nation was tested by fire. Fort Sumter ignited the first deadly engagement. Shots echoed across Charleston's harbor decisively. The Civil War officially began violently. Americans braced for suffering and chaos. Bull Run shocked the nation with brutality. Inexperience clashed with unprepared troops fiercely. Confusion and courage intertwined in bloody struggle. Lessons were learned at staggering cost. Antietam became the bloodiest single day. Thousands fell on fields of Maryland. Death and bravery marked every step. The nation mourned and pressed forward. Gettysburg shifted momentum to the Union. Northern forces held against determined Southern attack. Tides turned through courage and tactical skill. Hope for a victory grew steadily stronger. Vicksburg secured control of vital Mississippi River. Splitting the Confederacy became a strategic success. Supply lines and communication were disrupted heavily. Military planning proved decisive for eventual victory. Sherman's march spread destruction through the South. Total war aimed to break morale completely. Cities, fields, and railways suffered severely. Psychological impacts shaped post-war Southern life. Chancellorsville showcased Confederate tactical brilliance sharply. Lee's daring strategies outmaneuvered larger forces. Yet victory came with heavy casualties. War demanded sacrifice from every soldier. Fort Wagner highlighted African American bravery courageously. The 54th Massachusetts faced deadly challenges. Heroism redefined perception of black soldiers. Courage inspired morale and hope broadly. Shiloh revealed war's brutal reality instantly. Thousands died in unrelenting early morning battle. Strategic lessons were learned painfully quickly. War tested endurance across every front. The Union blockade strangled Southern commerce effectively. Naval operations became critical to success. Supplies and trade dwindled steadily daily. Economic pressure influenced battlefield outcomes. Chickamauga became site of bloody stalemate. Confederate forces resisted Union advancement fiercely. Victory came only after costly struggle. Persistence defined military leadership throughout. Fort Donelson surrendered under Union demand decisively. Early victories strengthened Northern morale greatly. Confidence fueled subsequent campaigns and strategy. Momentum shifted as Union forces advanced. Petersburg highlighted trench warfare's devastating impact. Sieges tested patience, endurance, and leadership. Supplies dwindled under constant pressure steadily. Victory required relentless determination and planning. Appomattox marked the war's final surrender. Lee yielded to Grant, ending conflict. Hope for reunification emerged slowly. Peace came at unimaginable cost. Slavery's chains were broken by proclamation. Freedom spread across fields and plantations rapidly. Hope ignited in hearts long oppressed. The nation faced moral reckoning boldly. Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation decisively. It changed the war's meaning profoundly. Conflict became struggle for human liberty. Justice began to reshape national identity. African Americans joined the Union Army courageously, fighting for a freedom and recognition fiercely. Their bravery challenged prejudice and stereotypes consistently. Service redefined citizenship and loyalty permanently. Communities celebrated newfound freedom across the South. Families reunited after decades of separation. Education and churches became central pillars. Self-determination flourished amid difficult circumstances. Sharecropping and labor contracts reshaped rural economy. Freedmen navigated opportunities and limitations carefully. Economic independence became a long-term struggle. Rights required protection through law and society. Schools and literacy programs expanded quickly. Knowledge empowered formerly enslaved citizens dramatically. Education became path to social mobility. Learning redefined opportunity across generations. Northern and Southern societies adapted slowly. Resistance to equality remained persistent in many areas. Social structures struggled to embrace change fully. Progress was met with backlash and tension. New legal frameworks protected civil rights partially. Freedmen gained voting and property rights cautiously. Political participation began transforming local governance. Democracy expanded under constant negotiation and pressure. Cultural expression reflected resilience and newfound liberty. Music, art, and literature celebrated identity boldly. Stories of struggle and hope endured vividly. Heritage influenced national consciousness widely. Economic, social, and political landscapes shifted. Plantation systems weakened under new labor arrangements. Northern industrial growth benefited from emerging freedom. Markets and communities adjusted gradually over decades. Resistance from former slaveholders challenged every advancement. Violence and intimidation threatened civil progress constantly. Communities relied on courage to survive politically. Activism grew in response to oppression fiercely. Freedmen's churches became centers of leadership. Spiritual and civic guidance intertwined in society. Faith guided reconstruction of daily lives. Communities strengthened identity through shared belief. Legal victories shaped expectations of justice. Court decisions and legislation expanded protections. Civil rights remained contested, but increasingly recognized. Law became a weapon for societal transformation. Emancipation redefined American democracy fundamentally. Freedom's promise created moral and political obligations. Society adjusted to new balance of power. Identity and equality remained ongoing national challenges. The nation faced rebuilding after brutal war. Southern states lay in ruin and chaos. Infrastructure, society, and economy required urgent repair. Unity demanded leadership, compromise, and courage. Freedmen sought political and social inclusion boldly. Voting rights became central to civil participation. New state constitutions reflected changing social order. Democracy expanded cautiously across contested regions. Radical Republicans pushed for equality vigorously. Federal oversight enforced civil rights cautiously. Military districts governed rebellious southern states. Authority extended to ensure legal compliance. Resistance from former Confederates remained persistent consistently. Violence, intimidation, and discrimination undermined progress heavily. Black codes restricted freedoms subtly yet forcefully. Communities fought for justice and protection continually. Reconstruction amendments reshaped legal landscape permanently. 13th, 14th, and 15th strengthened civil rights. Citizenship, equality, and voting gained constitutional protection. Law codified promises of liberty nationally. Economic challenges hindered Southern recovery profoundly. Agriculture remained disrupted. Industry underdeveloped, slow. Labor systems required adjustment and negotiation. Wealth and opportunity shifted unevenly across regions. Political power fluctuated in post-war South. Republicans initially held influence in multiple states. Democrats regained control through elections and maneuvering. Factions reshaped governance and policy continually. Education expanded under federal and local initiatives. Schools provided opportunities for formerly enslaved citizens. Literacy became critical to social advancement. Communities invested in knowledge for future generations. Infrastructure projects rebuilt cities and transportation networks. Railroads, roads, and ports returned to service. Economic connectivity improved cautiously over time. Nation regained functionality through persistent effort. Violence from groups like the Ku Klux Klan emerged. Intimidation targeted political leaders and citizens. Reconstruction faced persistent threat of destabilization. Law enforcement struggled to maintain order consistently. Northern interest in Reconstruction waned gradually over time. Federal commitment to Southern reform decreased steadily. Compromise and political fatigue influenced policy shifts. National priorities began to focus elsewhere strategically. Land and labor disputes created ongoing tension. Sharecropping and tenant farming shaped Southern economy. Economic independence remained elusive for many freedmen. Social mobility progressed slowly amidst challenges. Constitutional and legal reforms faced uneven implementation. Supreme Court rulings limited federal enforcement. States regained autonomy over civil governance. Rights were often contested or undermined. Reconstruction shaped national political discourse permanently. Debates over equality, authority, and loyalty persisted. Political realignment influenced decades of governance. Struggle for justice continued across generations. Despite setbacks, progress reshaped American society. Communities adapted to new realities cautiously. Civil rights remained central to national identity. Reconstruction's lessons influenced future policy profoundly. Civil War reshaped national identity profoundly. Unity endured despite lingering sectional tensions. A nation was tested, and REFORGED. Lessons of sacrifice became collective memory. Freedom redefined citizenship for formerly enslaved citizens. Equality remained an unfinished promise nationwide. Social and political challenges endured relentlessly. Democracy faced moral and practical tests. Segregation emerged despite Reconstruction's legal advances. Jim Crow laws constrained African American opportunity. Separate facilities reinforced inequality socially and politically. Communities adapted within restricted environments creatively. Cultural identity evolved under persistent oppression steadily. Music, art, and literature expressed resilience. Heritage was preserved through oral tradition. Expression became a tool of empowerment. Civil rights struggles spanned decades continually. Movements challenged systemic discrimination and injustice. Activism reshaped laws and societal norms. Progress was hard-won through sacrifice. Regional differences persisted after war's conclusion strongly. Economic, social, and political divisions remained tangible. Reconciliation was gradual and incomplete nationally. Identity was negotiated across generations carefully. Military and legal reforms influenced future governance. Veterans shaped leadership in local and national politics. Amendments became foundation for civil rights movements. Law and policy provided tools for change. Education became central to long-term equality efforts. Schools empowered individuals and communities persistently. Knowledge bridged gaps created by historical oppression. Literacy became a vehicle of social mobility. Economic opportunity remained uneven for decades. Sharecropping, labor limitations, and poverty persisted. Entrepreneurship and migration offered hope gradually. Communities adapted to overcome structural barriers. Political participation slowly expanded across marginalized groups. Voting rights battles continued for generations. Representation influenced local, state, and federal governance. Activism redefined the meaning of citizenship. Migration reshaped urban and rural demographics quickly. Northern cities offered opportunity and refuge. Communities grew in new, diverse environments. Population movements influenced cultural identity significantly. National dialogue included race relations more prominently. Debates over equality shaped policy and culture. America struggled to reconcile freedom and oppression. Identity became contested across multiple dimensions. Civil War memory influenced public monuments and history. Heroes, battles, and emancipation were commemorated. Interpretation of events reflected ideological perspectives. Memory shaped national understanding for decades. Social hierarchies evolved under new constraints slowly. Communities rebuilt while negotiating past trauma. Adaptation was essential for survival and progress. Cultural identity remained central to resilience. Legal protections laid groundwork for future reforms. Civil rights movements relied on constitutional promises. Change required persistence, courage, and advocacy. Justice was a long-term national project. The nation learned lessons of unity and division. History shaped collective consciousness and identity. Race relations remained central to national dialogue. Civil War's legacy influenced America permanently. Industry reshaped the nation rapidly and relentlessly. Factories sprouted in cities and towns. Smoke rose above chimneys daily and steadily. Machines multiplied output beyond human limits. Railroads stretched across plains, mountains, and rivers. Tracks connected distant cities with speed. Commerce and trade expanded nationwide quickly. Goods traveled farther, faster, and efficiently. Mass production transformed manufacturing fundamentally and permanently. Assembly lines revolutionized work and output. Efficiency increased while costs dropped sharply. Products became affordable for more Americans. Steel mills powered industrial growth relentlessly. Iron, coal, and labor-fueled development. Urban skylines grew with new factories. Work demanded skill, endurance, and dedication. Rail hubs became centers of economic activity. Goods, resources, and people flowed constantly. Innovation improved logistics and transportation infrastructure. Railroads unified regions previously isolated geographically. Factories created jobs for millions of workers. Immigration supplied labor for demanding roles. Long hours and harsh conditions persisted daily. Industrial life shaped family and community dynamics. Entrepreneurs invested in machinery and technology aggressively. Efficiency and scale defined business success. Competition drove innovation across multiple sectors. Profit and production guided national priorities. Cities expanded around industrial centers steadily. Housing, commerce, and services followed factory growth. Urban landscapes changed under economic pressure. Population density grew alongside industry rapidly. Communication improved with telegraph and railroad networks. Information moved faster across the expanding nation. Markets connected distant regions for commerce. Industrial growth demanded constant coordination and planning. Labor unions emerged in response to conditions. Workers demanded rights, wages, and safety. Strikes challenged corporate power persistently. Solidarity became crucial for labor movements. Technological innovations advanced industrial capabilities quickly. Electricity, machinery, and engines transformed production. Science and engineering fueled unprecedented growth. Progress defined the modern industrial era. Wealth concentrated among industrial leaders significantly. Economic disparity contrasted with growing middle class. Business empires dominated markets and politics. Power shifted toward corporations and innovation. Infrastructure projects supported manufacturing expansion extensively. Ports, roads, and bridges enabled commerce. Nationwide distribution became more efficient daily. Connectivity underpinned industrial success fully. Industry influenced foreign trade and global standing. Exports increased as production capacity soared. America became a rising economic power. Global influence followed industrial dominance steadily. Urban life transformed due to factory concentration. Workers migrated to cities seeking employment. Cultural and social landscapes evolved accordingly. Industry reshaped every aspect of daily life. Millions arrived seeking opportunity and freedom. Ellis Island became gateway to new lives. Dreams of prosperity drove families across oceans. Hope carried them to unfamiliar shores. Factories relied on immigrant labor heavily. Men, women, and children worked tirelessly. Urban centers swelled with diverse populations. Communities formed amidst crowded city streets. Cultural exchange enriched American society deeply. Languages, traditions, and customs blended constantly. Food, music, and religion shaped neighborhoods. Heritage influenced the nation's evolving identity. Ethnic enclaves developed in city neighborhoods quickly. Chinatown, Little Italy, and other districts thrived. Community solidarity helped survival and adaptation. Support networks strengthened resilience and opportunity. Immigrants faced harsh conditions and prejudice. Work was dangerous, long, and exhausting. Discrimination challenged assimilation and advancement continuously. Persistence became essential for success and survival. Economic growth depended on immigrant contributions daily. Factories, railroads, and mines required labor. Entrepreneurship emerged within immigrant communities consistently. Markets expanded with new workers and ideas. Labor movements included immigrant participation prominently. Strikes, unions, and protests challenged exploitation. Collective action shaped working conditions nationwide. Unity emerged across cultural and linguistic divides. Population growth accelerated urbanization and infrastructure development. Housing, sanitation, and transportation became urgent priorities. Cities struggled to meet new demands. Expansion strained municipal systems and resources. Education adapted to diverse student populations rapidly. Schools taught English, civic knowledge, and skills. Integration was gradual amid cultural differences. Learning bridged gaps between communities and opportunity. Political influence grew within immigrant communities slowly. Voting and civic engagement shaped local power. Ethnic organizations influenced policy and representation. Participation strengthened democratic processes nationally. Religious institutions provided social cohesion and guidance. Churches, synagogues, and temples anchored communities. Faith offered support, identity, and continuity. Spiritual life guided daily routines consistently. Immigrants fueled consumer markets and innovation constantly. Skilled artisans, merchants, and professionals thrived. New products and businesses emerged steadily. Economic vitality spread through diverse populations. Tensions arose between native-born and newcomers frequently. Nativism challenged immigration policies and rights. Debates over inclusion reflected national identity struggles. Integration remained a contested and ongoing process. Immigrant labor transformed America's industrial capacity fundamentally. Railroads, factories, and agriculture depended on workers. Population growth fueled economic expansion nationwide. Society evolved rapidly through migration dynamics. Generations of immigrants shaped American culture permanently. Identity, work ethic, and values blended nationally. Communities contributed to social and economic growth. Migration became cornerstone of national development. Andrew Carnegie transformed steel production dramatically. Factories churned steel for cities and railroads. Innovation increased output while reducing costs. Industrial America gained strength through his vision. Carnegie embraced efficiency and modern techniques boldly. Vertical integration controlled every production stage. Business strategy became a model nationally. Wealth and influence grew rapidly and steadily. John D. Rockefeller dominated oral industry fiercely. Standard Oil consolidated production and distribution. Monopoly allowed unprecedented market control quickly. Innovation and strategy drove enormous profits. Rockefeller used trusts to expand empire aggressively. Refineries, pipelines, and distribution networks flourished. Corporate power influenced politics and economy. Wealth accumulation shaped national business landscape. Henry Ford revolutionized automobile manufacturing globally. Assembly line transformed production and efficiency. Cars became affordable for average Americans. Mobility changed urban planning and daily life. Carnegie invested heavily in education and libraries. Philanthropy reflected belief in social progress. Wealth supported culture, learning, and opportunity. Legacy extended beyond business achievements permanently. Rockefeller funded medical research and education initiatives. Charitable foundations supported societal development broadly. Health, science, and education benefited from philanthropy. Legacy influenced American civil society significantly. Industrial titans shaped labor relations heavily. Strikes and union negotiations challenged corporate power. Conflict between workers and management was constant. Negotiation required strategy and compromise continually. Competition and consolidation defined industrial growth firmly. Markets expanded under large-scale corporations effectively. Small businesses struggled to survive against giants. Innovation and efficiency drove business evolution. Mass production and industrial leadership transformed economy. Urban centers grew alongside corporate headquarters. Employment and consumption patterns shifted rapidly. Every aspect of society felt impact. Industrialists inspired both admiration and criticism nationally. Wealth created social mobility and inequality. Power influenced politics and public policy. Public perception remained mixed and conflicted. Carnegie, Rockefeller, and Ford defined an era. Entrepreneurship reshaped national identity and ambition. Innovation, efficiency, and strategy became central. America embraced industrial power like never before. Technology, labor, and capital intertwined strategically. Corporate leadership guided modern economic growth. National and global influence increased exponentially. Industrial titans left permanent societal imprint. Cities grew rapidly with industrial expansion. Skyscrapers rose above crowded, bustling streets. Population surged as immigrants arrived daily. Urban life transformed work, home, and society. Tenements housed workers in cramped conditions densely. Families endured hardship, disease, and overcrowding. Communities formed despite harsh living circumstances. Resilience became essential for city survival. Streetcars and subways connected neighborhoods efficiently. Transportation shaped commuting and urban development. Workers traveled daily to factories and offices. Infrastructure linked expanding metropolitan regions quickly. Sanitation and public health challenged city planners. Sewage systems, clean water, and hospitals evolved. Disease threatened growing populations relentlessly. Reformers worked tirelessly to improve conditions. Cultural institutions flourished amid city expansion. Theaters, museums, and libraries enriched public life. Education and arts became community focal points. Urban culture reflected diverse immigrant influence vividly. Economic opportunity drew ambitious citizens nationwide. Jobs, commerce, and trade concentrated in cities. Entrepreneurship thrived amidst industrial prosperity. Urban centers became engines of national growth. Social stratification emerged clearly in metropolitan areas. Wealth and poverty existed side by side. Elite neighborhoods contrasted with working-class districts. Urban life revealed society's inequalities sharply. Reform movements addressed labor, housing, and safety. Settlement houses supported vulnerable populations effectively. Activists pushed for regulations and protections consistently. Progress required advocacy, policy, and public pressure. Political machines influenced city governance extensively. Immigrant communities engaged in party politics actively. Patronage and corruption shaped municipal decision-making. Power struggles defined urban political landscape. Technology transformed daily life across cities dramatically. Electricity, telephones, and elevators improved living standards. Modern conveniences reshaped work, leisure, and home. Innovation enhanced quality of urban experience. Education expanded to accommodate growing population quickly. Schools taught literacy, civics, and vocational skills. Children prepared for work in industrial society. Learning became central to upward mobility. Cultural diversity defined urban neighborhoods vividly. Food, music, and festivals reflected heritage proudly. Immigrant traditions shaped city identity strongly. Communities celebrated roots while adapting nationally. Crime and law enforcement challenged urban safety constantly. Police forces struggled to maintain order effectively. Social tensions required vigilance and strategy. Justice balanced between reform and enforcement carefully. Urbanization reshaped gender roles and expectations steadily. Women entered workforce and education increasingly. Public life expanded beyond domestic responsibilities. Society evolved in response to opportunity. Public spaces offered relief from industrial life. Parks, promenades, and plazas provided recreation. Civic pride grew through shared urban identity. Community gatherings strengthened social cohesion locally. Urbanization accelerated national transformation fundamentally and permanently. Cities became hubs of economy and culture. Population density, industry, and innovation drove progress. Societal change mirrored industrial and technological advancement. America's military embraced modernization with urgency. New technology transformed land, sea, and air. Weapons, ships, and strategies advanced rapidly. Preparedness reflected national ambition and foresight. Naval power became central to global presence. Steel ships patrolled oceans with authority. Fleet expansion demonstrated emerging strategic capabilities. Influence projected across distant international waters. Army reforms improved training, organization, and tactics. Professional leadership replaced ad hoc militia structures. Discipline, planning, and logistics became essential. Modernization strengthened national defense decisively. Industrial capacity supported military advancement extensively. Weapons production increased alongside factories and railroads. Innovation fueled power projection and readiness. Technology enabled force to reach global theaters. Spanish-American War showcased overseas ambitions vividly. Victory extended America's reach to foreign territories. Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines changed hands. Power extended beyond continental boundaries decisively. Imperial ambitions aligned with economic interests strategically. Trade, markets, and raw materials influenced decisions. Military presence reinforced economic expansion abroad. National strength projected through diplomacy and force. Naval officers studied foreign fleets carefully. Lessons informed construction, strategy, and tactics. Global observation guided domestic military innovation. Experience strengthened readiness for future conflicts. Overseas colonies required administrative and military structures. Governance and defense intertwined to maintain control. Infrastructure and security supported new territories. America learned to balance power and responsibility. Innovation emphasized artillery, fortifications, and engineering. Technology influenced both offense and defense capabilities. Military education became critical for leadership. Strategy combined science, training, and experience. Public opinion supported expansion through military success. Patriotism and national pride grew with victories. Media amplified heroic narratives and achievements. Support encouraged further modernization and investment. Modernized military influenced foreign diplomacy subtly. Presence shaped negotiations and international perception. Power projected confidence and deterred potential threats. Strategy integrated military, political, and economic considerations. Training programs produced professional and skilled officers. Competence ensured effectiveness in domestic and foreign campaigns. Leadership became central to national security. Preparation strengthened American global influence permanently. Industrial innovation allowed rapid mobilization of troops. Railroads and telegraphs enabled strategic deployment efficiently. Coordination transformed logistics and operational capacity. Preparedness became a hallmark of military strength. Overseas influence reshaped America's global identity. Colonial holdings expanded reach and reputation. Participation in international affairs increased strategically. Power projection signaled emergence as global actor. Military modernization laid foundation for future conflicts. Technological superiority became critical to success. Leadership, planning, and innovation defined American strength. Global influence grew alongside industrial and political power. America remained neutral at war's outbreak initially. President Wilson urged peace and careful diplomacy. Conflict raged across Europe and beyond fiercely. Isolationism guided early national policy cautiously. German unrestricted submarine warfare threatened American ships. Merchant vessels were sunk in open seas. Public opinion shifted toward intervention quickly. Safety of citizens became urgent priority. Zimmermann telegram inflamed tensions against Germany decisively. Diplomatic interception revealed foreign plots clearly. Congress debated war declaration and national duty. Pressure mounted for military engagement. America declared war in 1917 courageously. Troops mobilized and trained for foreign battlefields. Factories converted to war production rapidly. National unity focused on global objectives. Allies welcomed American entry with relief and hope. Fresh troops strengthened exhausted forces abroad. Morale improved as reinforcements arrived consistently. Coordination intensified across multiple fronts simultaneously. American industries supplied weapons, ammunition, and materials. Railroads transported goods efficiently to ports. Factories worked tirelessly to support military operations. Production fueled both allies and national economy. Military innovation included tanks, aircraft, and artillery. New technologies changed battlefield strategy dramatically. Soldiers adapted quickly to mechanized warfare. Lessons from Europe influenced tactics back home. American diplomacy shaped post-war negotiations carefully. Wilson advocated for peace and the League. Influence extended beyond military participation actively. Vision for global order-guided policy. Propaganda united citizens behind war effort effectively. Posters, speeches, and media rallied support. National identity merged with purpose and pride. Society embraced sacrifice and duty collectively. Troops faced trench warfare, disease, and hardship. Soldiers endured mud, bullets, and gas constantly. Courage and resilience defined frontline experience. Victory required endurance beyond physical limits. Women entered workforce to support war production. Factories, offices, and hospitals relied on skill. Gender roles shifted under national necessity quickly. Empowerment expanded beyond traditional domestic boundaries. Veterans returned with experience and expectation consistently. Demobilization required reintegration into civilian society. National policy addressed benefits, employment, and recognition. Transition influenced social and political dynamics. Treaties and agreements ended hostilities formally. Versailles established terms for defeated nations. America shaped negotiations through leadership and vision. Diplomacy emphasized national interest and global stability. Entry into war marked global emergence. America gained military, economic, and political influence. Participation reshaped international standing permanently. Nations stepped confidently onto the world stage. America emerged from World War I prosperous. Factories expanded production to meet global demand. Industrial output surged across multiple sectors. National wealth increased steadily and rapidly. Consumer culture transformed daily life dramatically. Automobiles, radios, and appliances became widespread. Advertising fueled desire and consumption consistently. Society embraced convenience and modernity enthusiastically. Stock market investment grew among citizens. Speculation fueled economic optimism nationwide. Financial markets expanded with unprecedented speed. Confidence drove growth and risk-taking simultaneously. Mass production lowered costs and increased availability. Products reached homes across urban and rural areas. Industry and innovation reshaped everyday experience. Goods became symbols of progress and identity. Immigration contributed to workforce expansion steadily. Urban centers thrived with skilled and unskilled labor. Cities became hubs of economic activity. Population growth fueled consumption and production. Agriculture adapted to mechanization and new markets. Tractors and machinery improved farm efficiency. Crops were exported globally to meet demand. Rural economy evolved alongside industrial prosperity. Entertainment and culture expanded alongside wealth. Movies, sports, and music captured public imagination. Leisure became central to modern urban life. Society enjoyed unprecedented access to recreation. Technological innovation spurred new business opportunities. Electricity, telephones, and mechanization transformed daily life. Entrepreneurs capitalized on evolving industries quickly. Economic dynamism reshaped the American landscape. Credit and installment plans fueled consumerism widely. Families purchased goods without full immediate payments. Spending stimulated production and commercial growth. Financial systems supported expansion of domestic markets. Labor movements faced challenges during economic boom. Workers sought rights amid industrial prosperity. Union influence waxed and waned regionally. Negotiation shaped labor conditions over time. Government policy promoted business and growth actively. Tariffs and fiscal measures encouraged domestic production. Economic priorities favored innovation and expansion. Federal guidance influenced prosperity and stability. Urbanization accelerated alongside industrial and economic growth. Cities expanded infrastructure to accommodate rising populations. Housing, transportation, and services grew rapidly. Metropolitan areas reflected economic transformation visibly. Cultural identity intertwined with consumer and industrial power. American lifestyle embraced modernization and comfort fully. Social norms shifted with wealth and technology. Nations celebrated achievement and progress enthusiastically. Despite prosperity, inequality persisted across regions. Rural areas and minorities faced economic limitations. Wealth concentrated among industrial and urban elites. Challenges foreshadowed instability beneath surface success. America entered World War II decisively. Pearl Harbor attack united citizens instantly. War demanded mobilization of military and industry. Nation prepared for global conflict thoroughly. Factories converted to produce weapons and vehicles. Workers, including women, fueled war effort. Production surged to unprecedented levels rapidly. Economy and military became fully intertwined. Allied forces coordinated strategy across continents. Europe and Pacific theaters required planning meticulously. Troops deployed to multiple fronts simultaneously. Victory depended on coordination and resilience. D-Day invasion opened Western Front successfully. Allied soldiers stormed beaches in Normandy. Resistance faced German fortifications bravely and relentlessly. Momentum shifted toward liberation of occupied Europe. Pacific campaigns tested courage across islands fiercely. Battles of Midway and Guadalcanal proved decisive. Marines and Navy endured harsh tropical conditions. Strategy and perseverance overcame Japanese resistance effectively. Air power and technology transformed combat rapidly. Bombers, tanks, and artillery reshaped battlefields. Innovation increased effectiveness and reduced casualties. Science influenced military success significantly. American troops demonstrated resilience and tactical skill. Training, morale, and leadership ensured operational success. Experience and adaptability guided campaigns steadily. Soldiers endured hardships beyond imagination daily. Victory in Europe came through relentless pressure. Allies captured Berlin and defeated Nazi regime. Liberation restored nations across the continent. Peace followed years of devastation and struggle. Pacific victories culminated in Japan's surrender swiftly. Island-hopping strategy brought Americans closer to goal. Naval and air superiority ensured final success. Japan conceded after immense loss and devastation. Civilian populations contributed through rationing and industry. Home front effort supported military operations consistently. Communities united for national victory passionately. Sacrifice permeated every aspect of society. Holocaust and atrocities revealed human course profoundly. Awareness of genocide shaped post-war resolve. Moral responsibility influenced international planning clearly. Justice became central to rebuilding global order. Allied cooperation strengthened diplomatic relationships permanently. United States emerged as key global leader. Influence extended politically, economically, and militarily. Power projected across Europe and Asia. Post-war planning focused on reconstruction extensively. Marshall Plan aided recovery of Europe. Infrastructure and economies were rebuilt systematically. Stability required coordination and investment consistently. Victory demonstrated industrial and military supremacy. Innovation, production, and strategy defined success. American leadership shaped post-war international landscape. Global influence increased decisively and permanently. America harnessed unprecedented nuclear power rapidly. Manhattan Project transformed science into deadly weapon. Scientists worked secretly under intense pressure. Innovation changed warfare permanently and dramatically. Hiroshima faced devastation beyond imagination immediately. Thousands perished in fiery mushroom cloud. City reduced to rubble almost instantly. Destruction shocked the world profoundly. Nagasaki suffered similar catastrophic consequences swiftly. Radiation and fire claimed countless lives. Japanese surrender followed nuclear devastation decisively. World realized power of atomic era. Bombs ended Pacific conflicts swiftly and decisively. War concluded with unprecedented technological force. Peace emerged from destructive, terrifying innovation. Humanity faced moral and strategic reckoning. Global politics transformed with nuclear capability introduction. Balance of power shifted dramatically worldwide. Arms race became central to diplomacy. Nations recognized need for deterrence strategy. United States assumed superpower status decisively. Military, industrial, and scientific dominance reinforced position. Influence extended politically, economically, and militarily. Global leadership responsibilities increased rapidly. Cold War tensions emerged from nuclear proliferation. Ideological conflict shaped strategy and alliances. Containment and deterrence defined foreign policy. Global order adapted to atomic realities. Nuclear technology influenced diplomacy and negotiation profoundly. Threat of annihilation enforced cautious dialogue consistently. Strategic planning focused on mutual deterrence. Peace depended on calculated restraint and vigilance. Science and ethics intertwined in public debate. Moral questions arose from destructive capability. Leaders and citizens grappled with consequences. Decision-making required unprecedented responsibility and foresight. International institutions sought to manage atomic threat. Non-proliferation and arms control became essential. Global cooperation emphasized prevention and regulation. Policy and diplomacy adapted to new era. Military strategy evolved under nuclear consideration. Conventional forces complemented atomic capabilities carefully. Deterrence shaped operational and political decisions. War planning required unprecedented caution and precision. Atomic era influenced domestic policy significantly. Funding and research prioritized scientific advancement. Education and industry adapted to defense needs. National security intertwined with technological leadership. Public awareness of power created anxiety widely. Cultural reflection explored potential and moral dilemmas. Literature, film, and discourse engaged with threat. Society confronted responsibility and existential fear. New world order required collaboration among nations. United States assumed leadership role actively. Security, diplomacy, and economic policy intertwined. Global stability depended on careful management. Atomic power reshaped warfare and diplomacy permanently. Technology altered perception of human capability. Responsibility and restraint became central to strategy. World entered nuclear age cautiously and reluctantly. World sought stability after global devastation. Nations desired peace, cooperation, and order. War's lessons shaped post-war international vision. Collaboration became essential for lasting security. United Nations formed to prevent future conflict. Diplomacy, negotiation, and law-guided operations. Member nations committed to collective responsibility. Global Forum promoted dialogue and accountability. Security Council addressed threats to peace quickly. Major powers wielded authority and influence. Resolutions shaped international intervention decisions. Conflict resolution required careful deliberation constantly. International Monetary Fund stabilized global economy. Loans and guidance supported reconstruction efforts. Trade and currency policies fostered growth. Economic cooperation became pillar of security. World Bank financed rebuilding of nations. Infrastructure and development projects supported recovery. Investment encouraged stability and progress steadily. Global prosperity relied on strategic coordination. NATO formed as defensive military alliance. Member nations pledged mutual protection consistently. Cold War tensions required collective security measures. Strategy emphasized deterrence and readiness globally. United States assumed leadership in international frameworks. Influence shaped policy, security, and economy. Global governance reflected American priorities strategically. Superpower status intertwined with responsibility and vision. Institutions promoted diplomacy over unilateral action. Negotiation replaced and checked military aggression carefully. Rules and treaties guided state behavior. International law became foundation for order. Cold War required coordination among allies closely. Military, economic, and political collaboration ensured stability. Collective planning addressed ideological threats effectively. Shared intelligence strengthened global security networks. Global reconstruction benefited from coordinated efforts massively. Europe, Asia, and developing nations rebuilt quickly. Economic and social programs mitigated post-war crises. Collaboration fostered recovery and modernization. United Nations emphasized human rights and justice. Charter promoted equality, freedom, and dignity. International law codified protections for civilians. Global norms reflected lessons of past wars. Institutions adapted to emerging geopolitical challenges rapidly. Korea, Vietnam, and other conflicts tested frameworks. Coordination proved essential for effective intervention. Structures evolved with changing global dynamics. Diplomacy became central to conflict resolution strategy. Dialogue replaced confrontation whenever possible consistently. International forums mediated disputes among nations. Negotiation required patience, skill, and foresight. Economic framework stabilized global trade efficiently. IMF and World Bank influenced fiscal policies. Development programs promoted growth and resilience. Global economy depended on collaboration continually. Military alliances ensured deterrence and defense readiness. NATO structured forces for rapid mobilization. Collective security influenced Cold War strategy. Peace relied on coordinated strength. International institutions reflected America's global influence. Leadership shaped post-war order decisively. Commitment to cooperation defined superpower responsibility. New era required diplomacy, strategy, and vision. World divided by ideology after World War II. Capitalism and communism competed for global influence. Democracy and markets contrasted with planned economies. Superpowers projected vision for a future society. United States championed free market principles boldly. Individual liberty became central to foreign policy. Economic growth and private enterprise defined strategy. Capitalism represented opportunity and personal freedom. Soviet Union promoted state-controlled economy rigorously. Communism emphasized equality and collective production. Centralized planning guided industrial and social goals. Ideology shaped political and economic priorities. Propaganda influenced domestic and international perception continuously. Media portrayed opposing systems as existential threats. Education reinforced loyalty and ideological commitment. Citizens absorbed messages of global struggle daily. Global alliances reflected ideological divisions clearly. NATO defended democratic nations against communist threat. Warsaw Pact united Soviet-aligned countries tightly. Strategy focused on containment and deterrence. Espionage intensified between competing powers constantly. CIA and KGB engaged in covert operations. Intelligence influenced policy, diplomacy, and security. Secrecy became weapon in ideological struggle. Economic aid advanced ideological influence strategically. Marshall Plan strengthened European capitalist recovery. Soviet support bolstered communist regimes internationally. Development programs reflected competing worldviews effectively. Cultural exchange became battleground for influence subtly. Films, literature, and music promoted national ideals. Soft power complemented military and economic strategy. Ideas shaped perception across continents widely. Nuclear weapons added urgency to ideological confrontation. Mutual deterrence defined policy and negotiation. Fear of annihilation constrained direct conflict decisively. Peace relied on careful balance of power. Domestic policies reflected ideological struggle heavily. Civil defense and education prepared citizens practically. Red Scare fueled political tension nationwide. Society experienced paranoia and vigilance continually. Third world nations became arenas of competition. Economic and military assistance influenced alignment. Superpowers sought ideological allies strategically worldwide. Proxy influence defined global relationships fundamentally. Public discourse centered on freedom versus equality. Debate shaped culture, politics, and education. Ideology penetrated every facet of national life. Citizens engaged with global struggle consistently. Technology became measure of national superiority strongly. Science and research reflected ideological ambition. Innovation was fueled by competition and pride. Progress demonstrated global leadership and capability. Policymakers navigated diplomacy cautiously and strategically. Alliances, treaties, and negotiations maintained global stability. Ideological rivalry required constant strategic calculation. Balance of power shaped international order. Arms buildup reflected fear and strategic necessity. Military strength symbolized national resolve and ideology. Preparedness became essential for deterrence and influence. Superpowers competed across every global dimension. Cold War defined international relations for decades. Ideology shaped conflicts, policy, and economy. Global order was contested and fragile constantly. Competition influenced history and modern geopolitics profoundly. Korea became first battlefield of Cold War. North invaded South with communist ambition. United Nations, led by America, intervened swiftly. Fighting raged across mountains, rivers, and plains. Chinese forces joined North Korea unexpectedly. Stalemate developed near 38th parallel. Territory shifted back and forth constantly. Armistice ended active combat without decisive victory. Vietnam became central Cold War struggle gradually. Communist North challenged South for national control. Guerrilla tactics frustrated conventional American forces. Dense jungles tested strategy and endurance consistently. US deployed ground troops, air, and navy. Bombing campaigns aimed to weaken enemy resolve. Military operations faced logistical and tactical challenges. Casualties mounted for both soldiers and civilians. Vietnam War fueled domestic unrest dramatically. Protests erupted nationwide against prolonged conflict. Public opinion divided over intervention and strategy. Society questioned leadership and military decisions intensely. Korean War solidified containment policy effectively. America pledged to defend allies against communism. Military alliances strengthened to deter aggression. Global strategy shaped by lessons from Korea. Vietnam revealed limits of conventional military power. Counterinsurgency challenged strategy, morale, and politics. Adaptation and resilience defined battlefield response. Experience influenced future military planning deeply. Proxy conflicts extended beyond main battlefields regularly. Support for allies involved logistics and training. Influence projected without direct territorial control. Ideology fueled local and global interventions. War shaped foreign policy and diplomacy permanently. Alliances, negotiations, and treaties reflected military lessons. Geopolitical strategy emphasized regional stability. Superpowers balanced intervention with caution carefully. Military technology advanced under combat conditions rapidly. Helicopters, jets, and weapons evolved for warfare. Innovation responded to enemy tactics consistently. Lessons shaped future operations and doctrine. Civilian populations endured displacement and hardship extensively. Refugees fled war-torn regions desperately. Infrastructure and communities suffered heavy damage. Human cost underscored global conflict realities. Media coverage influenced perception and politics significantly. Television brought war into homes directly. Public awareness shaped policy and morale. Information became strategic elements in conflict. Negotiations concluded Korean conflict without major conquest. Vietnam ended with withdrawal and reunification. Lessons in strategy and diplomacy endured. Cold War influence remained global and profound. Cold War extended into space exploration fiercely. United States and Soviet Union competed relentlessly. Satellites, rockets, and spacecraft defined the race. Technology became measure of national superiority. Sputnik launched by Soviets shocked the world. Americans feared falling behind strategically. Innovation and urgency fueled scientific progress. Investment surged in research and development. NASA formed to lead national space program. Engineers and scientists collaborated intensely daily. Mission planning required precision, skill, and vision. Innovation accelerated education and technological advancement. Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs demonstrated capability. Astronauts trained rigorously for demanding missions. Spacecraft tested limits of human endurance. Exploration advanced knowledge and national prestige. Moon landing marked historic American achievement proudly. Neil Armstrong set foot on lunar surface. Global audience witnessed triumph in awe. Science and ambition reached unprecedented heights. Satellites revolutionized communication and weather forecasting rapidly. Technology improved navigation, military intelligence, and media. Global connectivity increased with orbital infrastructure. Innovation reshaped daily life worldwide consistently. Computers and electronics advanced alongside space endeavors. Miniaturization and processing power accelerated progress. Industrial and civilian sectors benefited broadly. Scientific breakthroughs influenced multiple industries simultaneously. Space race spurred STEM education expansion nationally. Students pursued science, technology, engineering, and math. Workforce prepared for technological future strategically. Talent supported innovation and global competitiveness. Military applications paralleled civilian exploration closely. Missile technology and surveillance satellites advanced capabilities. Defense relied on scientific and engineering excellence. Dual-use innovation strengthened national security efficiently. International prestige was won through achievement visibly. Space accomplishments reflected leadership, ambition, and skill. Soft power increased with exploration success. Global perception of America shifted significantly. Scientific collaboration occurred alongside competition carefully. Experiments in microgravity expanded knowledge substantially. Technology transfer benefited research and industry. Global advancement accelerated through shared discovery selectively. Robotics and spacecraft automation improved mission safety. Precision engineering ensured operational success reliably. Automation reduced risk to human astronauts. Innovation maximized outputs and efficiency continuously. Public fascination inspired culture, media, and imagination. Space became symbol of progress and hope. Art, literature, and film celebrated exploration. Society embraced dreams of distant worlds. Technological breakthroughs extended to energy and medicine. Satellite imagery and computing transformed multiple sectors. Innovation improved lives on Earth directly. Science fueled optimism and practical applications. Space race defined Cold War rivalry boldly. Exploration showcased national ingenuity and determination. Global influence was enhanced through scientific achievement. Technology and ambition shaped international perception permanently. Superpowers avoided direct confrontation strategically. Wars were fought through allies and proxies. Influence spread without risking nuclear escalation. Global strategy relied on indirect engagement. Korean and Vietnam conflicts exemplified proxy warfare. Local battles reflected global ideological struggle. Superpowers supplied arms, funding, and advisors. Conflict extended far beyond original borders. Middle East became stage for geopolitical competition. Resource control influenced alliances and interventions. Tensions escalated through local disputes globally. Cold War ideology guided regional decisions. Latin America experienced coups and interventions frequently. US and USSR competed for influence. Governments aligned with superpowers received support. Democracy and dictatorship reflected ideological priorities. Africa faced civil wars and independence struggles. Proxy involvement shaped outcomes of conflicts. Superpowers sought allies among emerging nations. Local power struggles intersected with global rivalry. Intelligence agencies conducted covert operations worldwide. CIA and KGB influenced politics secretly. Espionage and sabotage affected national stability. Global maneuvering extended beyond visible battlefields. Arms sales and military training increased influence. Superpowers armed loyal factions strategically. Proxy conflicts became testing grounds for weapons. Battlefield experience guided future military planning. International diplomacy struggled amid regional proxy wars. United Nations and treaties often limited effectiveness. Negotiation required balancing superpower interests carefully. Peace remained fragile and conditional constantly. Economic aid became a tool of influence. Loans, investment, and trade secured loyalty. Development projects reinforced ideological alignment effectively. Money shaped political landscapes subtly and powerfully. Public perception was influenced by media portrayal. Conflicts were framed as ideological struggle. Support or opposition swayed domestic politics. Information became weapon in proxy battles. Cultural diplomacy complemented military and economic engagement. Education, media, and cultural programs spread ideology. Soft power reinforced strategic objectives internationally. Influence extended beyond traditional military boundaries. Regional conflicts reflected global tension continuously. Local populations endured displacement and hardship. National identities were reshaped by foreign interference. History was influenced by external powers. Lessons from proxy wars shaped strategy. Superpowers learned limits of intervention quickly. Adaptation became necessary for effective foreign policy. Experience influenced decisions in later conflicts. Cold War proxy conflicts defined international order. Power, ideology, and diplomacy intertwined globally. Superpowers projected influence without direct war. Global politics remained tense and unpredictable. Proxy conflicts maintained pressure and rivalry subtly. Local wars mirrored global ideological competition. Strategy emphasized support, deterrence, and influence. Superpower engagement shaped world politics permanently. Soviet Union faced economic stagnation and decline. Central planning failed to sustain growth effectively. Shortages and inefficiency plagued industry consistently. National morale weakened under systemic stress. Political reform attempted change under Gorbachev. Perestroika and glasnost introduced cautiously. Transparency challenged old power structures directly. Reform sparked hope and unrest simultaneously. Nationalist movements gained momentum across republics rapidly. Ethnic and regional tensions resurfaced strongly. Autonomy demands fractured central authority persistently. Unity eroded under political and economic strain. Eastern Europe shifted toward democracy quickly. Communist regimes collapsed one by one. Berlin Wall fell, signaling ideological defeat. Symbol of division vanished permanently and dramatically. Economic crisis accelerated systemic collapse decisively. Inflation, debt, and shortages undermined stability. Reform efforts failed to resolve structural problems. Public discontent fueled political transformation steadily. Coup attempts failed but revealed fragility clearly. Hardliners resisted change with limited success. Leadership struggled to maintain control nationwide. Transition became inevitable despite resistance constantly. Soviet republics declared independence sequentially and firmly. Russia, Ukraine, and others assumed sovereignty. New nations emerged from former empire rapidly. Global map was reshaped dramatically. Cold War rivalry ended without nuclear conflict. United States emerged as unchallenged superpower. Economic, military, and cultural influence dominated globally. Leadership extended across political and strategic arenas. America assumed global responsibility for security decisively. Alliances, diplomacy, and intervention became primary tools. Superpower status carried opportunity and obligation. Influence guided global stability and reconstruction. Military modernization reinforced global reach consistently. Bases, technology, and strategy ensured dominance. Rapid deployment capability supported international commitments. Presence projected power worldwide effectively. Economic leadership defined post-Cold War order. Global trade, finance, and aid reflected influence. Institutions and markets aligned with American priorities. Soft power complemented military and economic strength. Culture, media, and technology shaped perception globally. Ideas, entertainment, and innovation extended influence. Global society experienced American reach vividly. Cultural leadership reinforced superpower status. Diplomacy focused on multilateral engagement carefully. United Nations, NATO, and international forums mattered. Negotiation guided interventions and policy decisions. Leadership emphasized collaboration and strategic foresight. Challenges emerged in regional conflicts continuously. Middle East, Balkans, and Asia tested influence. Superpower navigated crises with strategy and caution. Global leadership demanded adaptability and foresight constantly. America's rise reflected decades of ambition. Industrial, military, and political power converged. Global supremacy shaped 21st century geopolitics. History marked America as the sole superpower. American films captivated audiences worldwide instantly. Hollywood studios produced iconic, memorable stories. Cinema became global entertainment industry powerhouse. Stars became symbols of national identity. Movies reflected culture, ambition, and imagination boldly. Stories shaped perception of society widely. Themes of freedom, struggle, and hope resonated. Audiences connected emotionally across continents instantly. Music genres like jazz, rock, and pop. Artists influenced culture far beyond borders. Songs carried messages of identity and rebellion. Rhythms and lyrics defined generations globally. Television expanded reach of entertainment daily. Shows and broadcasts entered homes consistently. Cultural influence spread through visual storytelling. Society absorbed values, trends, and ideas. Fashion and style followed celebrity influence rapidly. Clothing, trends, and icons inspired youth globally. Pop culture shaped aspirations and lifestyle. Media became conduit for social trends. Film festivals, awards, and premieres celebrated achievement. Industry recognized creativity and artistic innovation. Global collaboration expanded cinematic possibilities. Hollywood became a hub for international talent. Music recording and distribution transformed cultural reach. Radio, vinyl, and later digital spread sounds. Songs crossed borders and language barriers effortlessly. Global audiences experienced American creativity directly. Animation and family entertainment engaged young audiences. Storytelling introduced values, morals, and imagination. Generations grew up with American narratives vividly. Cultural imprint persisted across decades globally. Hollywood influenced politics subtly through storytelling. Media shaped public opinion and perspectives. Entertainment reflected societal debates and norms. Films mirrored American values and ideals consistently. Cultural exports reinforced soft power subtly. Movies and music spread influence internationally. Shared entertainment created common global experience. Pop culture extended reach beyond borders. Icons like Elvis, Marilyn, and Spielberg dominated. Artistry inspired worldwide fandom and admiration. Figures became symbols of creativity and innovation. Public fascination amplified American global presence. Cultural diplomacy accompanied entertainment industries effectively. Touring artists and international screenings promoted ideals. Soft power intertwined with creative expression. Influence extended through shared cultural experiences. Technological advancement supported production and distribution. Special effects, sound, and editing enhanced storytelling. Innovation pushed creative boundaries continually. Global audience experienced American ingenuity vividly. Hollywood became a global economic engine. Film and music generated revenue and employment. Industries shaped local and international economies. Culture and commerce merged seamlessly. Pop culture defined American identity abroad clearly. Art, music, and film reflected national character. Values, aspirations, and style were exported. Cultural influence became central to modern power. Silicon Valley emerged as innovation hub rapidly. Startups and visionaries transformed global technology landscape. Entrepreneurship drove progress and competition fiercely. Ideas became companies shaping modern life. Semiconductors, computers, and software revolutionized industry. Innovation accelerated productivity and communication worldwide. New inventions reshaped work, leisure, and education. Technology influenced society on unprecedented scale. Tech giants like Apple, Microsoft, and Google. Products became central to daily existence. Devices connected millions globally in real time. Companies defined markets and set trends. Internet transformed information access and communication permanently. World connected instantly through digital networks. Knowledge, commerce, and media moved seamlessly. Globalization accelerated through virtual connectivity rapidly. Entrepreneurs became icons of creativity and ambition. Risk-taking fueled growth and innovation consistently. Leadership combined vision, technology, and strategy. Success inspired generations of innovators worldwide. Venture capital fueled rapid technological expansion. Investments enabled breakthroughs and market disruption. Funding nurtured ambitious ideas into reality. Economy adapted to digital opportunities swiftly. Software, hardware, and services integrated daily life. Smartphones, apps, and platforms reshaped behavior. Efficiency and convenience became global expectations. Technology redefined communication, work, and entertainment. Research and development drove continuous progress relentlessly. Companies invested in AI, robotics, and biotech. Science and industry merged for innovation. Solutions addressed complex problems globally and efficiently. Silicon Valley culture emphasized collaboration and creativity. Open innovation accelerated development and adoption. Talent attracted worldwide to centers of excellence. Ideas flowed freely in competitive environment. Global influence extended through digital products widely. Technology became instrument of economic and cultural power. Companies shaped markets, policy, and consumer habits. Soft power flowed through innovation and technology. Startups challenged incumbents and disrupted markets boldly. Entrepreneurial spirit redefined business and opportunity. Failure and success drove continuous evolution. Innovation culture spread across industries internationally. Education adapted to meet tech industry demands. STEM programs prepared workforce for future. Universities partnered with companies for research. Talent pipeline ensured sustained technological leadership. Regulation and policy struggled to keep pace. Governments adapted to privacy, security, and innovation. Policy shaped by fast-moving technological change. Global implications required careful legal consideration. Silicon Valley became symbol of American ingenuity. Creativity, entrepreneurship, and risk-defined identity. Innovation reinforced global leadership and influence. Technology shaped society, economy, and culture permanently. America's economy shaped global trade networks rapidly. Capital markets influenced finance across continents. Investment, production, and commerce drove international growth. Dollar became symbol of global stability. Multinational corporations expanded operations worldwide boldly. Products, services, and brands reached far corners. Supply chains spanned continents efficiently. Trade reshaped local and global economies. Stock markets reflected confidence and speculation consistently. Investors responded to economic trends instantly. Global capital flowed through connected markets. Finance became instrument of national influence. Innovation fueled competitive advantage across industries. Technology, management, and production drove efficiency. Companies adapted quickly to changing conditions. Economic leadership depended on strategic foresight. Trade agreements established frameworks for international commerce. NAFTA, GATT, and WTO shaped rules. Regulations facilitated cooperation and market stability. Economic diplomacy guided policy and negotiation. Financial institutions influenced development and recovery globally. World Bank and IMF provided loans strategically. Infrastructure and investment supported industrialization abroad. Policy reflected both aid and influence. Consumer culture exported globally through markets. Products, brands, and media shaped lifestyles. Economic reach reinforced soft power internationally. Market integration spread American influence widely. Innovation in finance enabled complex transactions efficiently. Bonds, derivatives, and investment vehicles expanded markets. Global capitalism became interconnected and dynamic. Systems required oversight and strategic management. Labor markets adapted to industrial and technological shifts. Workforce mobility increased across borders effectively. Skills and talent shaped economic competitiveness. Human capital became central to growth. Economic cycles influenced global stability significantly. Booms and recessions affected multiple regions. Policy responses sought balance and resilience. National decisions impacted international partners directly. Energy markets reflected geopolitical and economic influence. Oil, gas, and resources shaped strategy. Supply, demand, and control guided policy. Energy became pillar of global power. Financial crises tested international systems severely. Coordination and policy mitigated widespread disruption. Global interdependence became clear and critical. Economic stability required cooperation and foresight. Corporate innovation influenced global standards consistently. Technology, management, and branding set trends. Competitive advantage defined market leadership clearly. Innovation became central to influence and growth. Trade and investment shaped geopolitical relationships directly. Economic power supported alliances and policy. Markets became tools for diplomacy subtly. Finance reinforced national and global objectives. American economic model influenced globalization extensively. Capitalism, markets, and enterprise spread worldwide. Integration connected nations through commerce and technology. Economic systems became instruments of national power. America projected influence through education globally. Universities attracted students from every continent. Scholarships and programs promoted cultural understanding. Knowledge became a tool of international diplomacy. Media shaped perception and global opinion effectively. Films, television, and news influenced audiences widely. Stories promoted values, identity, and culture. Soft power extended beyond borders subtly. Diplomacy emphasized alliances and strategic partnerships consistently. Embassies, negotiations, and summits guided policy. Engagement balanced national interests with cooperation. Negotiation reinforced influence without military force. Cultural exchange programs strengthened international connections. Artists, performers, and scholars traveled abroad. Ideas and traditions spread through interaction. Relationships deepened through personal and institutional exchange. Public diplomacy shaped perception of America abroad. Messaging, outreach, and communication highlighted values. Global audiences engaged with culture and ideals. Influence operated through visibility and reputation. Education programs trained leaders and innovators worldwide. Alumni networks promoted collaboration and understanding. Institutions became bridges between nations strategically. Soft power relied on intellectual exchange consistently. Media outlets projected information and narratives globally. News, documentaries, and entertainment reinforced influence. Digital platforms expanded reach and engagement. Society absorbed ideas, culture, and perspectives. International organizations facilitated dialogue and cooperation effectively. UN, UNESCO, and NGOs promoted collaboration. Participation reflected leadership and commitment to peace. Global networks strengthened American credibility. Language programs and cultural centers taught widely. English instruction connected students to ideas globally. Communication fostered understanding and professional opportunity. Education became instrument of influence subtly. Soft power complemented economic and military strength. Persuasion, culture, and diplomacy shaped outcomes. Influence extended beyond coercion or force. Leadership relied on attraction and example. Public events, conferences, and performances inspired engagement. Cultural diplomacy promoted mutual respect and ideas. Global exposure increased goodwill and collaboration. Societies connected through shared experiences positively. Scholarship and exchange programs encouraged innovation. Students contributed to research and development internationally. Knowledge networks enhanced global scientific progress. Education strengthened alliances and understanding persistently. Media portrayed American ideals consistently worldwide. Freedom, opportunity, and innovation became visible values. Narratives influenced perceptions of democracy and society. Stories shaped global attitudes toward America. Diplomacy used negotiation, incentives, and influence strategically. Alliances reinforced commitments without direct coercion. Soft power balanced hard power effectively. Global leadership relied on persuasion subtly. Soft power became a pillar of national strategy. Culture, education, and diplomacy projected influence. Global perception shaped policy, economy, and alliances. America shaped the modern world through attraction. American ideals influenced nations across the globe. Democracy became a symbol of political aspiration widely. Rights and freedoms inspired movements for change. Values resonated beyond borders and cultures. Constitutional principles guided governance and law effectively. Separation of powers ensured accountability consistently. Rule of law reinforced fairness and justice. Citizenship emphasized responsibility and participation actively. Civil rights movements inspired global activism profoundly. Equality, justice, and liberty became rallying calls. Leaders advocated reform and systemic change boldly. Struggles shaped society and inspired generations. Democratic institutions encouraged citizen engagement nationwide. Elections, debate, and representation defined participation. Voices influenced policy and governance directly. Public involvement reinforced legitimacy and accountability. Freedom of speech and expression flourished widely. Media, arts, and academia explored ideas openly. Society debated, questioned, and innovated continuously. Liberty encouraged exploration of thought and creativity. International alliances promoted democratic principles strategically. Treaties, organizations, and aid supported governance. Collaboration reinforced stability and shared values globally. Democracy became central to foreign policy. Education promoted understanding of rights and liberties. Schools taught principles of equality and justice. Knowledge empowered citizens and leaders consistently. Values were transmitted across generations steadily. Human rights advocacy influenced international norms significantly. Organizations and treaties codified protections globally. Activism challenged oppression and promoted freedom actively. Global perception reflected America's commitment to justice. Democracy inspired revolutions and reform movements worldwide. People sought governance reflecting consent and representation. Civil society strengthened under democratic principles. Values shaped political structures and engagement. Freedom of religion and belief was protected. Pluralism and tolerance defined social frameworks. Diversity became strength of national identity. Respect for conscience guided cultural and legal norms. American legal models influenced foreign constitutions significantly. Separation of powers and judicial review spread. Principles were adapted in diverse contexts. Governance reflected ideals of accountability and liberty. Global media amplified democratic messages continuously. Television, internet, and news highlighted freedoms. Information reached audiences across borders rapidly. Ideas shaped attitudes toward governance and rights. Social movements benefited from American inspiration directly. Civil, women's, and labor rights expanded globally. Activists cited examples of freedom and reform. Values transcended national boundaries consistently. Diplomacy promoted negotiation, rights, and equality actively. Alliances reinforced shared democratic ideals strategically. Engagement strengthened institutions and human rights globally. Policy reflected commitment to freedom and justice. Spread of American values shaped modern world profoundly. Democracy, rights, and liberty became influential globally. Ideas inspired governance, society, and culture. Nations' influence extended through principles, not force. September 11th attacks shocked the nation instantly. Towers fell, lives lost, fear spread rapidly. America vowed to respond with decisive action. Security and vigilance became national priorities immediately. War on terror began in Afghanistan swiftly. Taliban and Al-Qaeda became primary targets. Military deployed globally to combat extremist threats. Coalitions formed to restore stability and safety. Homeland security transformed domestic policies extensively. Air travel, intelligence, and law enforcement adapted. Surveillance and counter-terrorism measures increased dramatically. Safety became central to national governance strategies. Global alliances strengthened to fight terrorism collectively. NATO and partner nations joined coordinated operations. Diplomacy guided military and intelligence collaboration. Shared strategy aimed to prevent further attacks. Conflicts extended to Iraq and broader Middle East. Weapons inspections and regime change fueled debate. Military intervention faced challenges and criticism worldwide. Complex geopolitics shaped outcomes and consequences. Counterinsurgency required adaptation to unconventional warfare. Guerrilla tactics tested conventional military capabilities. Local knowledge and culture influenced strategy profoundly. Troops faced harsh terrain and persistent resistance. Intelligence gathering intensified globally and domestically. CIA, NSA, and military operations expanded efforts. Data collection supported prevention and strategic planning. Security agencies adapted to emerging threats constantly. Public opinion was divided on interventions consistently. Patriotism clashed with debates over policy and ethics. Society grappled with balance between liberty and safety. Democracy faced tension during wartime decision-making. Terrorism reshaped international law and norms. Security, sovereignty, and human rights faced scrutiny. Global cooperation to prevent attacks effectively. Legal frameworks adapted to new realities. Technology became weapon and tool in war. Drones, intelligence, and surveillance transformed operations. Rapid communication enabled global coordination instantly. Innovation influenced strategy and effectiveness dramatically. Media coverage influenced perception worldwide immediately. Images, reports, and analysis shaped public awareness. Global audience followed conflicts and consequences closely. Information became key element in modern warfare. Economic costs of war were substantial steadily. Defense spending and reconstruction affected budgets. Aid and investment targeted stabilization efforts. Global economy adapted to prolonged conflict. Civilian populations endured hardship and displacement severely. Refugees and victims required humanitarian response. Societies rebuilt amidst uncertainty and devastation. Human cost underscored gravity of global conflict. Diplomacy aimed to balance intervention and stability. Negotiations and treaties guided international cooperation carefully. Allies coordinated to confront shared threats effectively. Peace depended on strategic, political, and cultural efforts. War on terror reshaped national identity deeply. Resilience, vigilance, and unity became enduring values. Security and freedom remained central societal concerns. America navigated new global challenges with resolve. The world entered a multipolar era rapidly. Emerging powers challenged traditional Western dominance. Economic, military, and political influence shifted steadily. Global alliances evolved to reflect new realities. United States remained strong but faced competition. Economic rivals gained influence in trade networks. Military presence remained global yet contested strategically. Superpower status required adaptation and foresight continuously. China's rise reshaped regional and global dynamics. Manufacturing, technology, and infrastructure expanded influence. Diplomacy and investment projected global power efficiently. Economic growth altered balance in international institutions. European Union emerged as collective power center. Shared currency and policy increased regional leverage. Collaboration strengthened economic and political coordination. Influence extended across trade, security, and governance. Russia asserted military and political influence strategically. Energy resources became tool for international leverage. Geopolitical ambitions shaped regional conflicts and alliances. Superpower competition persisted despite post-Cold War changes. Global trade patterns shifted toward emerging economies. Supply chains and investment reflected new priorities. Economic interdependence increased alongside political complexity. Markets dictated influence and diplomatic negotiation constantly. Technology redefined global competitiveness significantly and rapidly. Innovation hubs and digital infrastructure became central. Scientific advancement influenced military, economy, and society. Knowledge became instruments of soft and hard power. Regional conflicts reflected larger power struggles subtly. Local disputes became arenas for global influence. Alliances aligned with economic and ideological interests. Superpowers projected reach through indirect engagement effectively. International institutions adapted to changing global context. UN, IMF, and WTO faced new challenges. Rules and norms were re-evaluated continuously. Global governance evolved with multipolar realities consistently. Military alliances adjusted to shifting balance carefully. NATO, regional coalitions, and partnerships redefined strategy. Defense planning accounted for emerging capabilities. Global security relied on flexible coordination constantly. Energy and resources shaped strategic competition globally. Access and control influenced economic and political leverage. Supply stability became key to national strategy. Superpowers negotiated access through diplomacy and power. Cultural influence remained essential in global leadership. Media, education, and values projected soft power. Ideas complemented economic and military presence. Global perception shaped authority and legitimacy subtly. Economic crises exposed vulnerabilities of dominant powers. Recovery depended on international cooperation effectively. Financial interdependence influenced policy decisions profoundly. Stability required coordination across borders and sectors. Global governance faced challenges from diverse actors. Non-state players, corporations, and institutions mattered increasingly. Influence extended beyond traditional nation-state boundaries. Complexity required adaptive strategy and vision. Balance of power remained dynamic and contested. Competition drove diplomacy, alliances, and technological innovation. Global order was fragile yet resilient continually. Superpower strategy required awareness of evolving threats. Shifts in power influenced 21st century geopolitics. Emerging nations asserted influence through economy, military. Multipolar world demanded collaboration and careful navigation. Global stability depended on strategic foresight consistently. America faced debates over politics intensely. Partisan divisions shaped governance and public discourse. Legislation reflected competing visions and priorities. Policy decisions sparked national discussions continuously. Economic inequality fueled societal tension steadily. Wealth distribution and opportunity became central issues. Debates over taxation and social programs persisted. Policy responses aimed to balance growth and fairness. Healthcare and social welfare dominated political debate. Access, cost, and quality divided opinion fiercely. Reform initiatives met resistance and support. Nations struggled to achieve equitable solutions consistently. Immigration influenced culture, labor, and policy. New arrivals reshaped demographics and identity. Debates focused on inclusion, security, and economy. Policy reflected tension between openness and control. Race and civil rights remained central issues. Historical injustice influenced contemporary social dynamics. Movements demanded equity, representation, and justice. Society grappled with history and progress continually. Technology reshaped labor markets and economy dramatically. Automation, AI, and globalization created new challenges. Jobs, skills, and opportunities shifted rapidly. Economic debates focused on adaptation and policy. Political polarization affected governance and negotiation deeply. Compromise became more difficult in legislative processes. Partisanship influenced elections and public discourse. Society questioned direction and leadership regularly. Identity and cultural values shaped societal debates. Religion, tradition, and progress created tension. Diversity required negotiation of shared norms. National identity evolved through internal dialogue persistently. Environmental concerns entered political and economic discussions. Climate change, energy, and conservation sparked debate. Policy responses balanced growth with sustainability. Society confronted global responsibility and local interests. Education policy influenced opportunity and equality extensively. Access, funding, and curriculum were debated nationwide. Future workforce and civic engagement depended on reform. Policy aimed to prepare citizens effectively. Gun rights and security became contentious nationally. Constitutional interpretation shaped legislative and social discourse. Public safety and individual freedom were debated. Society navigated tension between rights and protection. Healthcare crises and pandemics tested political unity. Public health, policy, and economy intertwined strongly. Crisis management revealed strengths and weaknesses clearly. Leadership faced scrutiny during national emergencies continuously. Infrastructure and technology investments sparked economic debate. Funding priorities and strategic goals influenced policy. Modernization aimed to maintain competitiveness globally. Public opinion shaped planning and execution consistently. Cultural debates reflected generational differences vividly. Youth and elders often disagreed on values. Media amplified differing perspectives rapidly. Society negotiated change and tradition carefully. Internal debates shaped democracy and national identity profoundly. Politics, economy, and culture reflected societal priorities. Public engagement influenced policy direction consistently. America evolved through conversation, conflict, and compromise. China emerged as a global economic powerhouse. Manufacturing, trade, and technology fueled rapid growth. Investment in infrastructure and industry expanded influence. Global markets adjusted to new competitive reality. Political leadership guided strategic development effectively. Government policy supported innovation and expansion. State planning influenced domestic and international priorities. Economic strategy projected influence worldwide steadily. Military modernization advanced alongside economic growth rapidly. Technology, training, and resources strengthened defense capabilities. Regional ambitions reflected national strategic goals clearly. Superpower competition extended into Asia and beyond. China invested in global trade networks extensively. Ports, railways, and partnerships connected continents. Belt and Road Initiative expanded economic reach. Influence spread through commerce and infrastructure. Technology and innovation became key to power. Digital platforms, AI, and telecom led markets. Global influence relied on technological leadership. Competition challenged American dominance directly and indirectly. Diplomacy strengthened relationships with emerging nations strategically. Alliances, aid, and trade secured cooperation. Influence extended through partnerships and negotiation. Soft power complemented economic and military strength. Energy and resources became central to strategy. Access, control, and investment shaped foreign policy. Global supply chains reflected strategic priorities consistently. Resource management influenced international leverage significantly. Regional conflicts tested influence and ambition carefully. Territorial disputes and security concerns escalated tensions. Military presence supported economic and diplomatic goals. Strategy balanced power projection and negotiation constantly. Global perception shifted with rising competitors rapidly. Markets, media, and diplomacy reflected new realities. Balance of power became increasingly multipolar. Influence was contested on multiple fronts simultaneously. Trade tensions challenged policies and alliances globally. Tariffs, agreements, and sanctions shaped strategies. Economic leverage became a tool of negotiation. Global markets reacted to competitive pressure swiftly. Education and talent development fueled innovation internally. Universities and research institutions supported strategic growth. Skilled workforce drove technological and industrial progress. Human capital became central to competitiveness. Cultural diplomacy complemented strategic economic efforts effectively. Media, exchange programs, and education influence perception. Soft power reinforced global presence subtly. Influence extended through culture, technology, and ideas. Competition accelerated innovation and efficiency globally. Markets adapted to speed and capability shifts. Strategic planning incorporated long-term economic vision. Superpowers adjusted policies to retain influence. Rise of China redefined global strategic calculus. Economic, military, and diplomatic power expanded steadily. America faced new challenges in global leadership. Multipolar world required adaptation and foresight continually. America faces new challenges in global arena. Emerging powers and multipolarity redefine influence steadily. Strategy, innovation, and alliances will determine leadership. Nation must adapt to shifting realities carefully. Economic strength remains central to international power. Innovation, trade, and investment shape global markets. Competitiveness ensures influence across regions effectively. Policy must support growth and opportunity continuously. Military capability underpins strategic presence worldwide. Technology, readiness, and alliances ensure deterrence. Power projection remains critical for national security. Adaptation is necessary to maintain credibility globally. Diplomacy will guide cooperation and negotiation effectively. Alliances and partnerships remain vital instruments of influence. Soft power complements hard power successfully. Leadership relies on credibility, trust, and vision. Global challenges require coordinated international response consistently. Climate change, pandemics, and security demand cooperation. Shared responsibility shapes legitimacy and influence. America must lead through collaboration thoughtfully. Technology will shape future competitiveness and strategy. AI, space, and cyber capabilities define advantage. Innovation determines economic, military, and societal strength. Investment in research ensures continued global relevance. Culture and values will continue shaping perception. Democracy, freedom, and human rights inspire worldwide. Soft power reinforces influence subtly and effectively. Global image remains central to leadership strategy. Public opinion will influence policy decisions nationally. Domestic unity strengthens international credibility. Debate and governance reflect societal priorities clearly. Leadership adapts to evolving domestic expectations consistently. Energy and resources remain strategic priorities globally. Access, innovation, and sustainability drive policy. Partnerships and competition shape global supply networks. Economic resilience ensures continued influence internationally. Security alliances must evolve with emerging threats. NATO, regional pacts, and partnerships adjust strategy. Collective defense strengthens deterrence and credibility. Flexibility ensures response to unpredictable challenges. Global institutions shape rules and norms continually. Participation and leadership maintain influence effectively. Engagement reinforces legitimacy and international order. Multilateralism complements unilateral capabilities strategically. Education and talent development sustain long-term leadership. Skilled workforce drives innovation and competitiveness. Universities, research, and training shape future generations. Human capital remains essential for national success. Environmental and societal challenges influence global strategy. Climate policy, sustainability, and resilience guide action. Long-term planning ensures security and prosperity. Global leadership adapts to evolving priorities. Economic, military, and diplomatic integration defines power. Coordination across sectors maintains influence steadily. Holistic strategy reinforces position in multipolar world. Leadership relies on foresight and adaptability continually. America's future influence depends on strategic vision. Innovation, values, and alliances shape global order. Leadership is earned through action, diplomacy, and credibility. Nation must navigate complexity with wisdom consistently. Global leadership remains a responsibility and challenge. Opportunities and risks define 21st century strategy. America continues shaping world through power and ideals. Future influence will blend strength, vision, and diplomacy. America wields unmatched economic, cultural, and military power. Influence stretches across continents and oceans seamlessly. Global markets, media, and strategy reflect reach. Strength is visible in technology and innovation. Ideas flow outward, shaping global perspectives continually. Universities, media, and culture spread American values. Soft power complements hard power worldwide consistently. Concepts of freedom, democracy, and enterprise inspire globally. Military presence underpins security and international commitments. Bases, alliances, and technology project formidable capability. Strategy combines readiness, foresight, and global coordination. Power is exercised subtly, yet unmistakably, everywhere. Cultural exports influence societies, fashion and art. Film, music, and literature reach far corners. Pop culture conveys identity, ideology, and ambition. Global audiences connect emotionally with American storytelling. Economic systems drive trade, innovation, and investment. Corporations, markets, and finance shape international trends. Globalization intertwines economies, creating interdependent networks. Policy and strategy steer economic influence carefully. Achievements shine across science, technology, and exploration. Innovation, space programs, and research lead progress. Breakthroughs demonstrate creativity, intellect, and ambition. Leadership and advancement inspires worldwide admiration continuously. Contradictions challenge unity, equality, and policy decisions. Debates over identity, freedom, and justice persist. Social issues test governance, culture, and values. Complexity defines the modern American experience clearly. Environmental and global challenges require bold leadership. Climate, pandemics, and resource scarcity demand action. Policy and innovation must balance needs effectively. Responsibility extends beyond national borders consistently. Diplomacy remains critical to influence and stability. Alliances, negotiation, and soft power reinforce presence. Global perception shapes authority, trust, and credibility. Engagement combines persuasion, cooperation, and strategic foresight. Immigration, diversity, and multiculturalism define society today. Ideas, traditions, and identity converge continuously. Nation evolves through adaptation and inclusivity. Society reflects values, change, and resilience simultaneously. Technological progress drives global competitiveness and connectivity. Innovation accelerates communication, commerce, and culture. Digital influence shapes policy, markets, and behavior. Advancement extends reach and reinforces leadership subtly. Education cultivates talent, creativity, and influence worldwide. Universities, research, and exchange programs spread knowledge. Human capital supports innovation and strategic advantage. Intellectual leadership ensures long-term global relevance consistently. Military, economic, and cultural power combine effectively. Coordination of resources sustains global position strategically. Influence extends through strategy, ideas, and action. Leadership adapts to emerging challenges continually. Achievements coexist with failures and unresolved tensions. History shows triumphs alongside inequality and conflict. National narrative blends progress with persistent contradictions. Reflection guides future decisions and strategies continually. Legacy continues unfolding in real time today. Policies, culture, and innovation shape ongoing story. Global impact reflects enduring ambition and adaptation. America writes history while influencing future generations. Empire is not ancient, but actively shaping tomorrow. Power, ideas, and values define influence globally. Leadership, culture, and innovation leave lasting mark. Future remains unwritten, full of potential and challenge.